A loud clunk from a wrench rang through the auto shop. Sterling Drake, a rich and mean man, laughed loudly. "Too slow, fool," he shouted in a mean voice. He was making fun of Malik Rivers, a hard-working black mechanic who was trying to fix a car. Malik didn't say anything back, but his jaw shook, and his eyes looked sad. The words hurt him deeply. Nearby, Jason Statham, a brave and calm man, stood still. He looked like he was ready for a karate fight. He watched everything closely. Would someone stop Sterling? Could courage stop someone so mean? The workers in the shop whispered to each other. They were nervous. Sterling's mean words made them uncomfortable. But something in Jason's quiet look gave them hope. Before we go deeper, tell us where you're watching from. Like this video and hit that subscribe button to see Jason Statham take on the mean billionaire. The loud noises in the shop, clanging tools, buzzing drills, hissing oil, couldn't hide what just happened. Sterling's cruel words were like a cold wind in the hot, greasy air of the garage. Belts squeaked. Grinders buzzed. Oil splashed. It all made a rhythm that felt tense and scary. Something big was about to happen. The workers stayed quiet, but they were watching. The smell of grease was strong. Each buzzing sound felt like a heartbeat, pushing everyone to feel the tension in the room. Jason stood near a shelf with car parts. He held a wrench like it was a karate sword. He didn't talk much, but you could tell he cared about the people around him. His old jacket hung on his shoulders, and his steady eyes looked around. When he saw a young apprentice struggling with a bolt, he gave him a small nod, showing support. He was here to protect people who were treated unfairly. You could feel his mission was to bring justice and kindness. Malik, still working under the car hood, tried to focus on his job. His forehead was wrinkled. He hummed softly to calm himself, like a quiet song to protect his heart from Sterling's meanness. His eyes were tired but still showed a tiny sparkle of hope. He loved his job and wanted to be proud. You could feel how important this moment was for him. Then Sterling walked by again. He looked rich, with shiny shoes and a sharp suit, but his face wore a mean smile. He looked down on Malik and even scoffed at his name badge. His heart was full of hate. He was nothing like Jason, who stood with calm and strength, or like Malik, who had courage and heart. The shop felt hotter. The noise of tools kept going, but underneath it all was a growing worry. The workers started to slow down. Their whispers grew louder. A young apprentice dropped his rag in surprise. A veteran worker stopped turning his wrench and stared. Everyone felt something bad was about to happen. Sterling's hand moved toward Malik. What was he going to do? The scene grew tense. The music of tools around them faded into the background. You could feel a storm was coming. Suddenly, a tool dropped with a loud clang. Then slap. Sterling hit Malik hard on the cheek. "You're useless," he shouted cruelly. All Malik had done was ask for more time to finish the repair carefully. The sound of the slap echoed through the shop. Malik's face burned. His eyes filled with tears. The mean laugh of Sterling's driver made it worse. The workers gasped. Some clenched their fists. Others stopped moving completely. Jason stepped forward, standing in a karate pose. His calm but strong voice cut through the noise. He was ready to stop this. His voice was full of promise. He would not let Malik be treated like this. Jason's strength wasn't just in his fists, it was in his heart. He cared. He believed in fairness. And you could feel it. Malik looked at Jason. Their eyes met. Malik didn't say much, but his face said everything. Please don't let him win. Sterling glared at Jason. What? You want some too? It was clear. Sterling was picking a fight. He didn't like being told he was wrong. He shoved Jason. Stay out of this. Sterling sneered. The push was hard. The other workers started whispering louder. Their stares were cold. Malik wiped his cheek and picked up a rag. He stood strong, even though his heart was heavy. Jason's jaw tightened. He took a deep breath. He was angry, but still calm. He didn't move quickly. He moved with purpose. The sound of the drills faded again. Everything slowed. Jason wasn't just standing up for himself. He was standing up for Malik, and for everyone who had been pushed down. His karate stance wasn't just for show. It was a signal. A spark of fire lit inside him. Malik's eyes locked with Jason's again. He didn't say anything, but you could hear his heart say, "Don't give up on me." Around the shop, the workers were holding their breath. One dropped a wrench. Another stopped moving completely. They were all watching. Sterling laughed again. "Look at this. Are you gonna cry now?" Then he moved. He pulled back his fist and punched Jason. Hard. The sound was like a hammer. Jason stumbled, holding his jaw. "Stay down," Sterling hissed. The workers gasped. The driver laughed again. But Malik looked at Jason, then at Sterling. And something changed. Malik's hand gripped a wrench. He held it tightly, not to attack, but to stay strong. "I'm not a fool," he said clearly. It wasn't loud, but it was powerful. The workers nodded. Tools clanged. They were standing with him now. Jason took a deep breath and stood up. He looked at Sterling with steady eyes. "No," he said. "You stop. Right now." His voice wasn't angry. It was strong and clear. He stood tall again, like a mountain. You could feel the fire of justice in his chest. The crowd's muttering quieted down. Everyone felt something was about to change. A worker nearby pointed toward Sterling. "Who's watching now?" he asked. Another worker turned off his drill. The air in the shop was heavy with heat and tension, but it was also full of courage. Malik's hands shook, but his heart was firm. He raised his voice. "I deserve respect, just like anyone else." And that was it. His words sparked something. The other workers stepped forward too. Someone said, "We're with you." Jason looked at Malik and nodded. Sterling's driver stopped laughing. Even he could see that things were changing. No one was afraid anymore. Malik held his wrench high. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. The workers clapped. Tools clanged. Everyone stood together. Jason stepped forward again. "Sterling, you're done here," he said. Sterling looked around. No one was on his side anymore. He scoffed, turned, and walked away. The noise of the shop slowly returned. Buzzing, clanging, hissing. But this time, the sounds felt different. They felt like music, a song of hope, unity, and courage. Malik smiled for the first time that day. Jason gave him a thumbs up. The young apprentice who dropped the rag earlier picked it up and smiled too. "Thanks," he whispered to Jason. Jason just nodded. He didn't need to say much. His actions spoke louder than words. Malik went back to work, standing tall and proud. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a hero. And so was Jason. The shop had changed. Not just because Sterling left, but because courage had walked in. And stayed. Jason was trying really hard to stop Sterling from being mean to Malik. His big, strong fists were shaking because he was so upset. A loud sound came from his mouth, like a sad growl. One of the workers in the shop looked at Jason with a sharp stare. It made Jason feel unsure of himself. The torch he held made a soft hissing sound, and everything felt quiet for a moment. You could feel Jason's pain. People in the shop started shouting mean things. An apprentice looked scared. A veteran who had worked in the shop for a long time stopped turning his wrench. Everyone felt nervous. No one wanted to lose. The buzzing sound of the shop got quieter. But Jason didn't give up. He held his fist steady and spoke with a strong voice. "Malik, you're strong," Jason said. His voice was rough but full of hope. It was like he was making a promise to protect Malik. Malik didn't move. He stood tall. His feet were planted on the ground like a tree. He looked brave. The loud, mean voices started to fade. Jason's promise made people feel something inside. Like maybe things could change. Maybe this could be the start of something better. Sterling grabbed a tool and looked scary. What was he going to do? It was like a dark rope pulling you deeper into the story. Then something amazing happened. Jason used his karate. He did a judo hip toss and flipped Sterling right onto the floor. Sterling hit the ground with a loud thud. The mean tool he was holding flew from his hand. His fancy suit got messy. His badge, the one that showed he was in charge, fell to the ground with a clink. He looked angry, but now he was quiet. The wrenches in the shop made clattering sounds. But the people in the shop weren't scared anymore. They started to cheer. Loudly. The workers were happy. Jason had won. He had stopped the hate. Malik was safe. Jason stood tall. He said in a firm voice, "No more hate." He meant it. His words were like a warm light shining in the dark. Malik smiled. He held a big wrench. He yelled, "I'm enough." His voice echoed all around the shop. It was his big moment. His eyes sparkled. He was proud. Jason and Malik looked at each other. They were like a team. A strong team. People around them clapped and smiled. The loud cheers filled the shop. Everyone could feel it. This was not just a fight. It was a big win for fairness and kindness. Malik's yell was strong. Jason stood beside him. They looked like heroes. Even Sterling couldn't say anything. He was on the floor, sweating. His mean face was quiet now. That silence was his punishment. He had lost. The buzzing sound in the shop came back. Workers were shouting, not with anger, but with joy. The crowd was roaring. The sound of the tools, the crash of the fall, the clink of the badge, all those sounds told a story. The story of Sterling's defeat. Jason felt calm. He was breathing slowly. He thought about what had happened. He looked at Malik. He was proud of him. Jason had used his karate not to hurt, but to protect. And now, Malik stood strong and proud. The workers were happy. Their cheers were full of joy. Their eyes were full of respect. Malik stood up straight, still holding his wrench. He shouted again, "We won!" His voice was loud and full of happiness. Jason smiled too. Their friendship was strong. The people in the shop were cheering together. Everyone felt united. Sterling was quiet. No one looked at him with respect anymore. A news van came. Cameras pointed at Sterling. Was someone going to tell everyone what he had done? It felt like something dark was still hiding. But the light in the shop was stronger now. The auto shop, once full of angry words and fighting, was different now. The tools were shiny. They made soft clicking sounds. The buzzing sound was gentle. The air smelled like fresh oil, but it also felt clean and calm. People were talking and laughing kindly. The whole place felt like it had been washed clean. An apprentice was smiling. A veteran gave him a proud nod. The lights in the shop were warm and golden. Every sound, every clink, every hum, felt like a song of trust. A new beginning. A better one. Jason stood by the workbench. His hands were rough and strong. His jacket was old, but his face looked gentle. He was thinking about everything. He felt hope. He had stopped something very bad. He had used his karate to protect, not hurt. Each sound in the shop helped tell the story. The clink of tools, the hum of machines. It was like music for the heart. Jason had defeated Sterling's meanness. He had been strong for Malik. Now he felt like a guide. Someone who could help others. The people in the shop were cheering. They looked at Jason with pride. They looked at Malik too. The apprentice was smiling brightly. The veteran was nodding with respect. Jason had promised to fight against hate. That promise was now a flame, a light that wouldn't go out. Malik was smiling too. He held his wrench high. It sparkled in the light. "We won!" he shouted again. His friendship with Jason was strong. His pride was back. He felt like a real mechanic now. The people clapped. Malik's honor soared like a kite in the sky. No one cared about Sterling anymore. The town didn't respect him now. He was quiet. He was alone. The veterans cheered louder. The workers smiled with pride. They knew something important had happened. Malik held his wrench up high again. It gleamed like a shining star. It was like a magic wand that said, "No more hate." The crowd was quiet for a moment. They were looking at Malik. He looked like a hero. The apprentice's fists were raised. The veteran's cheer was bright. Every little sound in the shop, the clink of tools, the hum of engines, felt like a heartbeat. It reminded everyone of Malik's bravery. Jason gave a strong nod. His face looked calm and full of hope. That nod was a promise, to never stop standing up for what is right. The crowd stood together. Malik's big smile echoed in the shop. The sounds of the shop were now full of hope and joy. Everything felt new and bright. A radio started playing in the background. It was Sterling. He was talking on the radio. But it didn't feel powerful anymore. It felt like a sad whisper. Like a dark thread that didn't matter much anymore. The shop was quiet, but in a peaceful way. Malik had done something amazing. Jason stood in the corner, his shadow fading. Now it was Malik's time to shine. His wrench still sparkled. The engine made a soft ticking sound. People sighed happily. Everything felt right. The smell of clean metal filled the air. People were smiling. An apprentice laughed. A veteran waved kindly. The whole shop glowed like a warm fireplace. You could feel the pride. You could feel the change. Jason thought about Malik. He will shine, he whispered to himself. The town now respected Malik. Everyone could see his strength. His big smile was a spark that made people feel braver. The workers stood together. Their voices were warm and full of happiness. Malik lifted his wrench one more time. It wasn't just a tool now. It was a symbol of his strength and his victory. It was proof that being brave and kind can win. Sterling's mean ways didn't work anymore. Malik and Jason had stopped them. Now, everyone could see what courage really looked like. It was Malik's proud face. It was Jason's guiding smile. The shining wrench told the truth. Hate doesn't win. Kindness and bravery do. The radio made a crackly sound again. Sterling was still talking. But now, the town didn't believe him. They had seen what was right. They had seen Malik. They had seen Jason. That was what mattered. Every sound in the shop, the twitch of a fist, the grip of a tool, the flash of the camera, the voice on the radio, all came together in one bright moment. A moment full of hope. The veteran looked at Malik and nodded with pride. The crowd smiled. Their hearts were full. Malik had stood tall. He had fought with kindness. And he had won. Now it was your turn. The story ended with a loud call. Stand for justice. Share your story. Like and share. And then came a hint. The next story will be about honor. Don't miss it. Hope was in the air. The engine ticked softly. Malik's courage is still glowing in the shop. A bright light shining for everyone to see. Malik's stand was a flame that would never go out. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.